Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. The Burgundy Zone is part of the Listen Frederick Podcast Network. You can find out more at www.listenfrederick.com. I am your host, Kyle, and I am joined by my co-host, Michael Reed. Our other co-host, Michael Hall, will be here very, very shortly, but we are joined by returning guest, and looks like a pro football player himself, Mr. Felix Trammell, beat writer for 1340 AM Fox Sports. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Felix. How are you doing on this beautiful Monday?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Day off of work. Can't get mad at that.
Yeah, I wish I had the day off of work. Unfortunately, I was on the job site, Felix. But one thing I wanted to ask you about, I wanted to kind of recap this Wildcard weekend, and there was a lot that happened, a lot of beatdowns, and there were some pretty good games in there. But for you, what was the biggest surprise of Wildcard weekend?
Kind of how spread the games were. There weren't a lot of close games.
Right.
The Dallas 49ers game was close, and I think those teams were evenly matched. The Raiders-Bengals game was sort of close, even though the Bengals were kind of in control the whole time.
Yeah.
But, some of them was just bad matchups. Tampa was an absolutely horrible matchup for Philadelphia. The Steelers were a horrible matchup for Kansas City. And it just kind of snowballed like that. So I think that was the most interesting thing. But I think the emergence of the Bengals is surprising as fast as it's happened. Now, they acquired some young talent, but in that division, to ascend that quickly says a lot about what they were able to do. So I think the Bengals probably, out of all of that, was probably my biggest shocker, how quickly they turned into a good team.
Yeah, right.
That division.
Right.
That's a murderer's division to be turning around in.
Right. Especially watching Joe Burrow over the last month or so. This dude has just been unreal. And you love to see it, I mean, Joey Franchise, the guy, he's been one of my favorites ever since his LSU days. He's just so calm and cool. But so speaking of the big news, last night, of course, we all know what happened in Dallas. Washington fans, we all loved it. I mean, I can't complain about that. What was your takeaway from the ending of that game? And did you hear Dak's comments? And how did you feel about that?
Well, first of all, Dak needs to understand those refs protect him.
Right.
And you should not go after them when you're the one who needs the protection the most. I thought that was very immature on his part. I thought that was it. I think that was a summation of the Cowboys in general. When things are going well, they're just front runners. They're boasting. Look at us. And anytime they hit adversity, it's always someone else's fault.
Yep.
And it's always the refs, like the Thanksgiving game against the Raiders. It was the refs. It was so many penalties. The Raiders had just as many penalties as they did.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like last night, every penalty they had was legit.
Yeah.
Like it was not any, oh my God, can't believe they did that. They were all legit penalties. And then that last sequence, I think they overthought themselves. Yeah. And you had got to the point of no return where you couldn't run that QB sneak and get those yards and be able to down the ball and have a chance. If you had 5 more seconds, you would be able to pull that off. But I think you had reached that line of no return. Right. And it just looked like a over desperate move with something they didn't expect to happen because they just flat walked into the game. So
right. Yeah. And me and Kyle were talking before the show, and it's hard with Dak because Dak is such a likable guy. Like he really is. Like the guy doesn't do anything wrong. But then like after hearing his comments last night, like telling the fans not to throw any things at players, and then as soon as they were like, well, they were throwing it at the refs, he was like, well, good for them. It was just kind of like, come on, Dak, you can't say that.
He had been a perfect franchise quarterback until that moment. I think that was immaturity. It was just you can't condone that, and it's just it's a bad look from a player who generally liked, respected around the league, happy that he got paid, and then in the big moments you don't come through. And we were just talking about Joe Burrow. Look at the things that Joe Burrow's done in his 2 years or a year and a half, because you can say that he got hurt second half of the season last year, in big game moments versus what Dak has done in his big game moments. And you start to see the separation at that point right there. but he had played that role that you want from a franchise quarterback. But I heard the comment and I was like, I know he didn't really say that. Then I went back and listened to it again, and he really did. And I mean, I understand being angry at the moment, but you can't come out there and say, "Oh yeah, they should have did that. Good job for them." That's a bad look.
It's gonna get somebody hurt.
I think you put the nail right on the head there, Felix. It's a representation of the lack of leadership. Nobody having the oversight above Dak, and to put on top of it, Mike McCarthy agreed with him. Didn't even shun what he said. He agreed with, kind of shows they have no leadership in place because Mike McCarthy is just a talking point. But let's bring this to the Washington football team, because we saw a lot of teams go in there and get some wins yesterday. Felix, how far away is the Washington football team from being able to win a playoff game, possibly in a wild card round?
It depends. And I think it's contingent on how do you address the offense and, most importantly, the quarterback. I wrote in my last piece about Washington actually found a quarterback this season. It found his backup quarterback, and that's Taylor Heineke. And I think that's his ceiling. Not a knock. He can come in and win a game or two. He can get hot, but then he can get cold. And he was cold against the Cowboys. And those just happen to be our two worst losses.
Arctic cold.
Yeah. And so I think the roster has the chance to do it, because honestly, if we played Tampa, I don't think we win that game, but I think we're in that game because I think we know how to play that type of game. Coach Rivera knows how to coach that type of game. So it's really contingent on that. And then health, really, because the team turned the corner and was getting right, and then COVID hit.
Yep.
Right at the wrong time for this team.
Right.
So honestly, if they address the quarterback position, if a good factor, it's easily a 10-win team. And 10 wins, as you see, is a playoff team now. 10-7 is a playoff team.
Right.
And they could see they can win once you get there, because you're just trying to get
Since
there.
he's 10-7.
They were 10-7. The Raiders were 10-7. We beat the Raiders. I mean, it's there. So it's the hit or miss, and it's set up for them nicely to have the 5 division games at the end, but they went 1-4.
Yeah.
You go 3-2. We played yesterday, or we played tonight, or we played Saturday. So it's just that simple. So I don't think they're that far away. We're not the Giants. We're not the Lions. We're not the Jaguars, but we're also not the Packers, and we're not those teams, because we don't have the player that matters the most.
Right. Yeah. So speaking of players that matter the most, I've been, of course, as all Washington fans are right now, I think I'm pretty excited for the draft, like most people. There's some pretty interesting prospects out there. We know that this year's quarterback class isn't necessarily anything to write home about, but there's a couple guys out there that you could really see coming in and being a franchise quarterback possibly. Who is your favorite quarterback from this class, and who do you think fits best with Washington's offense?
If I had a favorite, it'd be Pickett.
Same here.
Really?
Then Corral, then Ritter. Actually, no, Willis, then Ritter.
Okay.
Okay.
Those two are tied with me.
I like Ritter too, right?
Pickett is probably the most ready today. If we had to play a game next week, Pickett would be the best to go today. Corral has the most quarterback upside, like just arm talent upside. Willis is probably the best athlete.
Yeah.
And we would have to conform the system to use him.
Yep.
And then Ritter could possibly be Josh Allen.
Right.
And not necessarily the everything, but he is 6'5", can run, and has a good arm.
And he's got the accuracy issues too, like very inconsistent. Right.
So that is your comp for him. So you'd have to be willing to take your lumps and mold your offense to him. So that's why I had those guys there. But Pickett is the one that could come in today and run Scott Turner's system today.
Right.
Corral would probably need about a year or so. You would have to change it for Willis and for Ritter. But that's what coaches do. You've got to conform your system. So that would be my QB rankings. So let's just say, for sake of argument, Corral and Pickett are drafted before 11. Pick the best player that can contribute in the first game of the season, and then go get Willis and go get Ritter later.
Right.
Like you can do that. And they have that ability to do that. But they've got to be willing to have a plan going in and knowing what's going to occur.
Right.
Yes, I'll go now. Since we're talking about the offense, I don't know. You can stop me if you already asked this question. Obviously, they brought in Curtis Samuel this offseason, and obviously he was injured, didn't really do what Washington wanted him to do on the field. But with that being said, I know a lot of people always talk about Terry needs help. Terry needs help. Logan Thomas was injured this year. I feel like Antonio Gibson kind of, as the season went on, progressed and kind of found his footing towards the second half of the season. Do you think that this offense still needs to keep upgrading weapons-wise, or you think that if they can get a quarterback in, this offense can kind of be top half of the league and kind of contend with the rest of the offenses in the league?
I think it's C. It's both. I think you do need to upgrade the quarterback talent, and then I do think you need another weapon. I don't think in the NFL you can have too many weapons now. And it's not going to be the old Cowboys with the triplets, and it was going to be Emmett, Michael, Emmett, Emmett. Like that, those days are kind of gone. You need to be multiple. And case in point, the Kansas City Chiefs teams this year scheme to take Hill and Kelsey away, so that forced Hardman and those other guys to step up, and now they're stepping up. So you cover Hill. Okay, Hill didn't do anything last night.
Right.
But then you see Hardman and Kelsey going all over the place. So you need to be multiple. So I do think they need to add another receiver, another starting receiver. And I think Logan should be back. Logan was a big missing piece. You re-signed J.D. McKissick because that's a big piece as far as the passing game goes. He complements Antonio Gibson. Gibson, once they finally defined his roles and helped him along the way, seemed to turn into a better back because that was only his second year being a running back. Like all those things matter. So you got to upgrade the quarterback talent. That will help Terry because Terry gets open and can't get the ball. And then once you add another solid receiver, things will open up. So I think it's both. You've got to increase the quarterback talent, and you've got to add another legit weapon.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you there, Felix. And one of the games from this weekend, the Bills matchup, the biggest news coming out of it wasn't the win. It wasn't one of the dildos falling onto the end zone. It was Fitzpatrick. Fitzmagic was in the stands, was in a suite level with his shirt off. He was flexing. It was great to see Fitz. But my question, Felix, because we've talked about the rookie quarterbacks and already, what do you think is going to go on with Fitz? Because you talked about Taylor already being, like, they solidified that he is the backup quarterback. Do you think that what's the possibility chance that Fitz is coming back as a starter next season?
1%, because I don't believe in absolutes. I think that Coach Rivera understands what his roster is now, and it's ready. So he has to make the big splash, and Fitzpatrick's just not going to be that splash you need anymore. Last year, if he would have been here and got us to 8 or 9 wins, it would have shown it would have been him steering the ship, turning us in the right direction.
Right.
I think we've turned. So it doesn't serve a purpose now. So he's a liked person. He's very well liked in the building, but you just can't go back with just running it back with Fitz. Like you can't do it. And he had shown nothing in preseason camp that was like, oh yeah, we're ready. He showed a couple of things, but he showed a couple of bad things too. So it wasn't like he was overly impressive in training camp. And people saw the preseason games. We didn't score a touchdown all preseason until the last game. So it's 1% because I just don't want to say in absolutes, but
I got you.
It's a 1% chance he would be the starting quarterback in 2022.
Since we're keep talking with the offense, you mentioned earlier that if you drafted a guy like Malik Willis or Desmond Ritter, that Scott Turner would probably have to mold the offense and kind of mold it to their skill sets and what they do best. So it's kind of a two-part question. First of all, what would be your grade for Scott Turner so far through these first 2 years, even though he hasn't really had that solid quarterback to run his offense and the weapons to really run it? And the second part would be, if they do draft a guy like Ritter or Willis, do you think that Scott Turner would be able to adapt his offense to a guy like that or the guys like those?
If I had to give Turner a grade, it'd be in the B- range. he schemes well from the 20 to the 20. If you watch, especially like opening sequences, like just think of the opening sequence like the Eagles game.
Right.
Just bam, bam. The play set up, next play, set up, next play. He does well there. My biggest slights on Turner is his sequence of play calling, usually in the red zone.
Yeah.
It's very basic, like you know what's coming. And then a play that should have been run on second down, he runs on first down or vice versa. And then you know what's coming third and long because that's what has to happen. So I think that is where Turner needs the most work. As far as shifting it for like Willis or Ritter, there's parts of this playbook he didn't use with Heineke. He didn't use the zone read at all. And the zone read was open all season. Yeah. Case in point, when Heineke got hurt in the first Dallas game, Kyle Allen comes in for a play.
Yeah.
The first play they run is a read option, and Kyle Allen gets 15 yards down the sideline. Yeah. They don't run another zone read for 2 weeks. That is available to him. And if you have Ritter and you have Willis, that sequence of plays is available to you. So you can go back to what the team was thinking about in year one when you would have McKissick and Gibson in the backfield with the quarterback who can run. So now you have a three-way option on any running play and throw an RPO on that. Now you have things, but that part of Turner's playbook is never used because you didn't have the right personnel to do it. So I think you can adapt, but I think you haven't seen it because of the personnel there. So for him, I would give him a B- because he does generate movement between the 20s. Heineke had 3,500 yards passing. I mean, that's the most yards passing we've had at a quarterback since Kirk Cousins left. So obviously there's stuff there. And even the Gilbert game with the Eagles, he showed a propensity to move the ball some with a guy who had only been there for 5 days. So the offense can be better. It's just, I think his sequence of plays calling, especially in the red zone, is where he would need to work on. And I think some play callers is just hard. But if you watch somebody like Andy Reid last night, some of those plays in the red zone were just stupid. Yeah. And I mean, they literally have people running back and forth in circles. Next thing you know, they're catching the ball, walking in the end zone, and the defense is looking around because they design and set up and set up and set up and set up and set up. Yep. So I think that's Turner's biggest thing.
And to your credit, Washington finished as the 26th team in red zone percentage conversion, 2 touchdowns in the red zone there, to your point, Felix. Now, to wrap this up, Felix, we talked about the 11th overall pick for the Washington football team. You said, if Kenny Pickett is off the board, if Matt Corral is off the board, go with best player available. But that being said, let's just look at this team overall. Besides quarterback, what position would you be targeting at the 11th overall pick?
For me, it would either be a middle linebacker, a true middle linebacker,
right,
or a safety. Yep. Now, I don't think Kyle Hamilton will make it to 11. If he was there, run to the board. If Nakobe Dean makes it to 11, run to the podium ASAP. Those two can change your defense. That would allow, and I've said this in places, you use Davis like the Cowboys use Parsons. He's on the outside. Then you put his hand in the dirt, and you put him next to Chase, put him next to Sweat, put him next to Allen, and then you rush like crazy. And then you have Dean who can run sideline to sideline behind him with Holcomb. That would fix 3 problems in one. Yep. It will allow you to be more aggressive on the front end, cover on the back end, and save your defense. So I think that would be my goal. If you can't get Pickett or Corral in the first round, I wouldn't reach for anybody else at 11 as far as quarterback. Now, trade in the bottom half, I'm fine. But I think that's where you should be there. But if a Dean or a Hamilton or someone like that is there, you've got to go get them because they will change the defense. You've got to find playmakers.
Last one before we let you go, Felix. I know we talked about the rookie quarterbacks and what was probably the best fit for Washington and everything, but let's just say that Rivera goes down the vet quarterback path, either through free agency or via trade. What quarterback that is a veteran quarterback out there now that you think is the best fit for Washington?
Ooh, now course, let's get the dreams out the way first. Aaron Rodgers a dream. Russell Wilson's a dream. All right, so we got them out the way. So you're looking at a Baker Mayfield, if they let him go.
Are you throwing Deshaun in there?
I personally would go get Deshaun.
So would I.
And you're going to have to live. This team should be Washington baggage. We have baggage. Be baggage and win.
That's perfect.
If you have baggage and win, people care less.
Yep.
No one cared when the Pats were cheating because the Pats were winning.
Yeah. Right. Look at Robert Downey Jr. You know?
Right. No one cared. Right. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Like no one cared when the Yankees were doing what the Yankees were doing because the Yankees were winning World Series. So if you go get Deshaun Watson, go get him. I mean, it's fine. You're going to take heat. You're going to take heat. You're going to take heat as long as Snyder's the owner. You're going to take heat as long as those emails aren't released.
Mm-hmm.
Win while you're doing that. And Watson would be winning on day one. So, I mean, I hate to say it. This is you're a pro franchise. Your job is to win. It's not community outreach. It's not being the moral center of Washington, D.C., which has no morals anyway. You know that. But your job is to win football games. So if Deshaun Watson gives you that, if you can trade for him and NFL says he has 4-game suspension, fine. Heineke, you got the first 4 games. Watson is your show. But outside of that, Jimmy G wouldn't change much. Carr, if you could get him, would actually change a lot.
Yep.
I think Carr is tough. He's a good leader, and what the Raiders were able to do with all that chaos this year showed a lot. But if they were happen to get another quarterback, then Carr's there. You go get Carr, and I think Carr would have a chip on his shoulder, which I think would bode well. Outside of that, I mean, I really wouldn't want to see a Trubisky.
Dude, I knew you were
right. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I've been a Mariota guy. Mariota wouldn't get anyone excited. But Mariota has skills, but I don't think he's going to get anybody excited.
Right.
So I think they're going to try for one of those big guys first, and then when those don't work, draft.
My man.
But I think he really wants to go free agent route, but I don't think he's going to be a free agent at the caliber of what they need.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about, Felix. I can't thank you so much enough for coming on and being able to talk with us a little bit. Now, before you get out of here, if you just want to plug your social media, just in case any of our listeners that want to come and find you and start following you after your great points that you've illustrated.
Well, my Twitter and IG is still HTTR and Blessed until February 2nd. And when the new cane comes out, that will change. Lord knows what it'll be. But that's my social media. You can find me there, or Fox Sports 1340 AM. You can find me on there. You can find me in the Washington Rap as well. But yeah, find me on anything. I love to talk. I love to run my mouth, give my unheralded opinion on anything. But find me on there. I love to talk. I love to chat.
Yeah, and congratulations to Chad Ryan, your co-host, just had a baby girl this past weekend as well. So congratulations, Chad.
Chad's popping them babies out. He must be a different rate down in Australia.
I know. He is busy.
Yeah. He's pumping them out.
Isolation has been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's real lockdown down there. That's real lockdown.
Felix, I can't thank you enough, brother. I hope you have a great night. And until next time, be safe, dude.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, brother. We'll catch you again. All right, everybody. We just spoke with the man, Felix Trammell. Dude, Felix is phenomenal. That was awesome.
I love how in-depth he goes on everything.
I love his take on Jamin Davis. I feel like I said that like weeks ago. That I just want to see him in that Micah Parsons, blitzing off the edge, kind of getting after the passer kind of role. And you already know I'm a Deshaun Watson guy. So for him to say, I'll go after Deshaun because it's about winning, that's all I've been saying. That's all I've been saying on Twitter.
Right.
Not trying to ruffle any feathers. I'm just making points.
You're just trying to piss everyone off, Hall, and it's not okay. It's not okay. Have some morals, okay? Have some values. Now let's before we get it, if we're joined by our next guest, but let's answer some fan questions. And the first one we're going to go to the Colonel, and this one is pertaining to the rebrand. He says, like everyone else, I'm reading between the lines on all the name change rumors. That said, I recall all 3 players loving our new uniforms. However, I heard nothing about them loving the new name. What are your comments on that, Hall?
I would say that I don't think they know the new name. I think they just only showed them the uniforms. Or yeah, I mean that would be my take on it. And if they do know the new name, then I would say that they probably told them like, hey, like keep it under wraps. Like, you know what I'm saying? Obviously there's been no leaks, so they're doing a great job of that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
my initial
we know of.
Yeah, that we know of, exactly. But my initial thought would be that they don't actually know the full name. They just only seen the jerseys and kind of what the initial is. Not even really the logo, because I guess the W and the uniforms is what they've seen, not the actual like name of the team.
I think they've definitely seen the name, Colonel, and I think I know what you're saying here, because essentially what you're saying is it's going to be a military kind of name, themed name, and obviously the players have spoken out ones that they liked. And this was not one of them that they thought. But they said, I think Jonathan Allen or Chase Young said after the fact that the uniforms were amazing. They were a lot better than what he thought they were going to. And you could kind of read between the lines of him basically saying, I didn't think it would look good based off the name that they are, but they look really, really cool. So from my personal opinion, just like you, Colonel, I definitely think it is down the military kind of theme there, without a doubt. What about you, Reed?
Yeah. I think that there's like Tyler said last episode, there's a handful of guys that know. They saw everything. I'm sure that they know it. They're just having them keep it under wraps, and that's why they're just having them post those 222 pictures and then shut up, don't talk about it. That's why they only pick those, those guys that you feel like you could trust, the Terrys, the John Allens, the Chase Youngs, those are very trustworthy gentlemen. So I do think it'll be, yeah.
Now, the next question from the Colonel is, I've always considered Dak Prescott to be a class act. Following their playoff loss at home last night, Dak condoned irate fans showering trash on exiting referees. Was I mistaken about him, Reed?
That's the thing. We talked about it a little bit with Felix, and we talked about it before air. It's so hard because you're right. Dak has always been like, it's been hard to hate on Dak because he's played good and he's been such a terrific person off the field. We know he's had his struggles in college and everything that went on, but he's really overcame that and been a perfect person. But then yesterday's comments just really kind of turned you off, because not only is it just, of course, inappropriate. You don't throw stuff at officials and you don't cheer on people for doing that. But somebody can get hurt doing that. I know that, like, if you're throwing a hot dog, no chances are nobody's going to get hurt, but people get hurt all the time. I mean, who knows what they're going to take it to next?
Glizzies will take your eye out, man.
Glizzies will take your eye out for sure.
Bomb.
Oh yeah,
Glizzy bomb.
I mean, it's like those officials throwing the flag and hitting people in the eyes. That's not cool. But no, yeah, that was. I think it was just a heat of the moment thing. He was upset with the officials, but it was a terrible judgment call. And yes, we are allowed to judge Dak off that, and that was a stupid thing for him to say.
I don't think you're wrong at all, Hall. Colonel, because I do think that Dak is still a class act. I have so much respect for him. What he did before the game by coming to all the players on the Dallas Cowboys and saying the practice squad guys are not getting the same check as we are for this playoff. So let's put money together to give back to the practice squad guys. I absolutely love that. I think that really speaks to who Dak is. But his comments saying credit to them, meaning the fans throwing trash at referees, I don't think is indicative of who Dak is. I think it's indicative of the lack of leadership or thereof around the Dallas Cowboy organization, because they're allowed to do whatever the hell they want, because Mike McCarthy really isn't a stern type of leader in that aspect. He's just there to collect the paycheck and to be the punching bag for whenever they need it. So I'm not putting Dak down too bad. I just think that he had a bad moment. I think he made a mistake. It wasn't thinking clearly, but I'm sure he's human, dude. He's pissed off. They lost at home. He just got paid big money. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with him overreacting in that sort of capacity. But yeah, you don't ever want to do that with the NFL. You don't ever want to say, yes, we should be throwing things at the referees. This isn't Philly. You know what I mean? So he does have to be smarter in that capacity, because you wish that he would be that leader. But look, man, we're all human, and he can't be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. I don't think you mistaken him or took him the wrong way. Literally, like you said, it's an emotional sport. It was right after the game, pretty much. I know, obviously, he was in the locker room, got time to really breathe about it, think about it, but it's still kind of the heat of the battle. You just lost a huge game. You're the highest paid player on the entire field, and you probably played the worst out of on the offensive side of the ball on both sides of both teams. You probably were the worst offensive player on both sides, other than maybe Ezekiel Elliott, maybe CeeDee Lamb, also which are on your offense. So here he knew kind of the media was going to be coming at him after this game, and his emotions probably got the best of him, and he said something that he probably regrets that he said. But at the end of the day, I don't really mind it, because I'm a type of person that where I hate whenever, like, I'm not saying Dak gives like PC kind of like answers all the time, but he always gives the higher road kind of answer is like the
Right.
I'm the
That
franchise guy.
stereotypical quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. The
Right.
stereotypical quarterback answer. So I like even without quarterback, any player.
Right.
I like when they speak their mind and kind of say what's on their chest and get what's all like how they're feeling out on the microphone. So I don't fault them for that, but at the end of the day, like I said, definitely can't say that. Definitely can't condone something like that. But that's one mistake Dak Prescott's made in like many interviews, many after game interviews.
Right.
So it's all good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree with you there. There's way too much cowboy talk for this podcast, by the way. Now, our next question is from Paul Murphy, the Pablo man,
Holly
in
Murphy.
out in Scotland. Thank you, sir. He says, does watching the wildcard game show how far off we are from being a successful team, or are you encouraged that we are close to what's needed to win a playoff game? I fear we are still way off. We don't have an Allen, a Debo Samuel, a TJ Watt, a Micah Hyde. He says we need high-impact players. So what do you think, Hall?
I mean, I definitely do not disagree with this take that we need high impact players. Now, on the flip side of those things, do you think that Montez Sweat can be a high impact player next year when coming back full off season, clear his mind, everything that's been going on? He's hop on the field season. What does it be? His fourth season next year?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Contract year. So possible contract year, unless you want to get the 5th-year option. So usually players in that position ball out when a contract year is coming up. Jonathan Allen, I think, became a high impact player this year as far as the defense goes. I'm still going to say Chase has the potential to be a high impact player. I think that coming off the injury, he has a chip on his shoulder. I think he bounces back in his 3rd year. Now, if you want to flip to the offensive side of the ball, yes, we do need some more weapons. We need definitely some more high impact players. But I think that if you get a quarterback that is average, to say the best, average or a little bit above average, I think that covers up a lot of the offensive sins, if you want to call them that, on that side of the ball that are missing. So, and plus, like Felix just said, you get a guy like Dean or Hamilton in the draft, or a guy like that on the offensive side of the ball that can really change your offense around, just like they can change the defense around. I definitely think that we're a quarterback and maybe a linebacker and a safety, maybe a quarterback receiver, some type of combination of those away from actually being the threat in the playoffs.
Yeah, look, I think they're actually very close to being one of those teams. I know that it's probably not really popular to say at the moment with the Washington football team with how everything went to end the season. But I know that PFF Moo, Timo Risky on Twitter, put out this graphic, and it's basically a graph showing the strength of schedule, who's faced good defenses and good offenses, and Washington is at the very top right, meaning that they faced the best defenses and the best offenses all season long. They won 7 games, same amount they won last year with everything going on with this football team. I definitely think they are close. I really do. They just got to shore up some things. I think they were missing some leadership at some aspects, but I think that they can really make a change this offseason, get that quarterback in here, get another playmaker or two maybe through the draft, and then get that leader on defense that can really put guys in position for them to be successful. And so at that point, yes, I don't think they're far off at all.
No, yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, this season, I know everybody was so disappointed because we had such high standards, but like you said, Kyle, we had a very tough schedule. We still finished with the same amount of wins as we did last year. And the reason that we finished with that many wins is because we got slapped with COVID and the injury bug. So I think we're still right there. I mean, you look at this team, Terry McLaurin's a stud. You get him an actual quarterback, this guy's going to go off. Curtis Samuel, when he's healthy, he's very good. Adam Humphries has shown that he's good. De'Ami Brown has potential. Logan Thomas and John Bates, they both are very good. Ricky Seals-Jones, he's showed potential. Antonio Gibson, he can grow. Our defense, I mean, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payton, Matt Ioannidis, Cole Holcomb is really developing. Kendall Fuller, Cam Curl, William Jackson. These guys, in year 3, they will take a step up. So the fact that our step back season, where kind of took a step back, which happens a lot with growing teams, we still finished with the same amount of wins. I think it's okay. It's kind of getting overlooked a little bit. I think that we will end up being okay. And as soon as you get that quarterback in place, watch. I guarantee things change over here in Washington.
Yeah, and I want to give credit to Taylor Heineke going against that schedule. He did a good job this season. He just needs to be more consistent. That's it, and that's one of the biggest reasons for me. We gave him that opportunity. That's it. But our next question is from our guy, Hail to the Commanders, the Canadian guy. He wants to know, with the rebrand
guy?
Yeah, he's in Canada.
Hey, come on, buddy.
And with the rebrand upon us, the next major franchise question is the stadium. Jason always said if this process is done correctly, we shouldn't have any leaks until the announcement happens. What are your thoughts on when they lock it down, and do you dare take a guess where, Hall?
I know I was just listening to 106 earlier, and they had Michael Phillips on Richmond Times, and he wrote an article that kind of went under the radar because there was all this other stuff going on with like playoff stuff like that, blah blah blah. But pretty much it was saying that only in January and February is when they introduced laws into Virginia, and once again the stadium was not on this cycle of laws, so you got to wait till next year, next January, February, to kind of enter that again, and hopefully it goes through, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So with all that being said, if I had to make a guess, my first guess would probably be it's going to be somewhere in Northern Virginia, like, I don't know, Loudoun County or somewhere around there. But my second guess would be they're going to just tear down FedEx and just rebuild that and kind of redo that whole type of area. But with all that being said, like I said, it's getting around crunch time because 2022, 2023 is coming up that season. If the lease ends in 2027, you would think you got to have some type of deal in place by like 23, 24, so you can start breaking the ground, getting all that whole area renovated and getting ready to go, so you can have it by 27. But yeah, to answer your question, my guess would be somewhere in Northern Virginia, Loudoun County area maybe. But my second guess would be they just remodel and redo FedEx in Landover.
Yeah, what Michael Phillips was essentially talking about was saying, like, the Virginia legislative government, essentially, they only do these things once a year. That's the only time they do it. So if you miss this one period, you got to wait a year to do it. It's not like they're just saying, no, we're not going to listen to you at all. Yeah. But if I had to guess, I would say probably the National Harbor. That makes the most sense down there. It's kind of the conjoining area of Maryland and Virginia. It's near D.C. as well, so you can kind of have the DMV aspect there. And I've heard the different theories about Northern Virginia. One issue being is how people are going to be able to get there because of how northern it is on the Potomac side. It's hard to be able to get there from the Maryland side, you know. But that being said, I think there was like a poll or percentage that was done where it said like 70% of the people that went to FedEx all came from Northern Virginia anyway. So it's not like it's the Maryland residents showing up in flocks at the stadium, or anybody for that matter at this point. Mm-hmm. But if I was going to guess, I'd say National Harbor. And I would say most likely it'd probably be announced a year of the date of the rebrand. So I would say next February 2nd would probably be the best bet for them to do that, because it kind of gives them the that date a little bit more.
Right. I would love it to be in National Harbor. I think that'd be really cool because you're right. It combines so many different aspects. Another thing, I think that Jason and them really do kind of want to get back to the roots. I know that they're completely redoing everything, but they do kind of want to pay homage and kind of keep some of the tradition alive. So I would still love to see it somewhere in DC. I don't know if it would be possible at all. Granted, with the way that the old RFK site is now, I know that's dead and gone, but it would be cool. So I would like to see it somewhere like that. But realistically, probably Northern Virginia.
Yeah, I think DC is.
Yeah, it is.
I know, me too.
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
But I will say that Michael Phillips made a good point in I think Northern Virginia, because there's no casinos in Virginia.
I heard that.
A big selling point for the stadium is you can attach a stadium to it. You kill two birds with one stone. You get the stadium money, all the gambling money, all in one place. And with it being by National Harbor, obviously you got MGM right there, so it's kind of like conflicting where you're going to go to MGM, you're going to go to the casino that's attached to the stadium or in the stadium. So but I mean, I guess you could always just go to MGM then to the stadium, I guess. But
to piggyback off that one, I thought about this because Michael Phillips was on with JP Finley and B Mitch earlier. So that's why I heard him on. And the one aspect I wanted to chime in with it to their conversation, I think it's Tyson's Corner. I think that is the kind of development where you could really build a new stadium. Look, I'm in the new building in Capital One that's building right off of 495 right now. There's land out there. There is a possibility for it and for them to be able to do it, and it's inside the Beltway, and it's sort of close to where everything is with D.C., Virginia, and Maryland. So I think Tyson's Corner has the infrastructure, has all the businesses and everything that we'd need to be able to have that flourish. But I think that's a wild card.
I heard they were going to put it in Damascus, Maryland.
Is that what you want, dude?
No, I live in Frederick now, my guy. Yeah, right. I live in Frederick now.
No, but
how nice that would be if it was.
You could take the boy out of Damascus, but you can't take Damascus out of the boy.
Well, you can't take me out of the
this
boy, if you know what
guy.
I'm
Yeah,
saying.
there you go. And now our
Yeah.
next question is from Scott Hartley in the UK. Oi! He wants to know,
Oi.
do you think you're actually going to like the name, or is it something you're going to have to live with and accept over time, Hall?
That's a good one. My seat neighbor always coming with the hard-hitting questions. I probably like the name just because I'm a diehard fan. But at the end of the day, I've always said I don't care what the name is. I just want them to win games on the field. But yeah, I'd probably like the name because I'm a diehard fan and I'm gonna have to live with it regardless. So, why not like it?
I really don't mind about the name. Said this so many times. As long as the uniforms and everything looks really cool, I'm all for it. But Kevin, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at you, man. But you just look so blown right now. You being a Raiders fan, I know it was a rough weekend. But I wanted to bring you on here because, like, obviously we love you, dude, and you.
Well, you're okay.
It's been a great season for you guys, for the Raiders. I thought you guys have done an incredible job with everything that has gone on for you guys throughout the season. How was that game for you?
Disappointing. Just at the end of it, there was an opportunity for us to tie the game, take the lead. Even after the way the game played, like the Bengals could have won that handedly at the beginning. There was a lot of times where the defense stood up in the red zone, and instead of allowing 6, they allowed 3.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
And there was a lot of times where the Raiders were actually moving the ball downfield, but drops by Renfro, Waller, Deshaun Jackson could have walked into the end zone from the 5-yard line with nobody behind him.
We know all about that.
Yeah. So, but I actually looked it up, and if you go back to, I think it was the East-West Shrine game with him coming out, this guy lollygagged into the end zone and dropped the ball before walking in there.
He did that, and he did it in the NFL too.
And then he did it in the Packers playoff game with y'all. Like he walked out instead of trying to go in, and I'm like, is this guy sick? But I do have like a thank you / F you to the Washington football team for giving us this guy, Peyton Barber, who thinks it was okay to walk out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
Talk about zero football IQ.
Right.
What the hell?
That has made my mind so baffled. I couldn't even come in with a nice promo for you all today. Cause like, I just keep thinking about like, how is this a professional athlete in the NFL who's like, I'm going to walk the ball out at the 4-yard line? Our kick returner, Johnson, who I've never even heard of before this season, was back there like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Why did you even touch the ball? Just let it go. It's a penalty. We get the ball at the 45, and then a couple plays after that, Carr gets sacked at a fumble, and if they could have ran away with it, the fact that we had a chance at the end really showed our team had a lot of grit and a lot of tenacity. Rich Bisaccia is done a great job with what's going on. Yeah. But there's a lot of players on our team on 1-year prove it deals. So are they playing above what they actually should be doing? Is the coaching staff like just getting everybody to buy in? And then next year when things are back to normal, are they going to have that same edge and be as motivated? Who knows? But at the end of the day, if you don't have people catching the ball in the playoffs, you're never going to win.
Right. So
being said, sorry, before I interrupt you. With that being said, so since football season's over, let's talk hockey season. Let's switch it up. And then if the lockout's over, so we'll be covered. We got O's, we got Caps. We're all covered right here. So we don't have to worry about that.
So hey, Cracky, with you guys being one of the probably the most popular coaching destination in the NFL, do you think that you guys are going to keep your interim head coach after the success that he's had, getting you guys kind of back on track, or do you guys think you guys are going to bring somebody else in?
I mean, everybody's connecting us to Jim Harbaugh, and hopefully Jim Harbaugh.
Watch, he's going to build something special, and then he's going to leave like he does everywhere.
Well, everybody talked about the ownership.
San Fran.
Yeah, that's
Michigan, every place.
And I don't think he just accomplished that much. It's not like he won a national title in Michigan.
Right.
Like they still struggled. Mike was still disappointed at the end of every season, like always. Like it was.
Hey, he made the playoffs. That's all he wanted.
He did.
Honestly.
He made the playoffs.
And he beat Ohio State.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, but Ohio State's been dumb ever since they let Joe Burrow go and kept Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, that was a bad look. But let's get back to our fan questions. Reed, I'm going to ask you this one from Burrows in the UK. Oi! He said, interested to hear if you boys will be watching the new spring league that is starting up.
I don't know what that means. What is that?
There's a spring league, I think, sprouting up
soccer
for the NFL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's tight. I thought you were talking about soccer. I was like, no, don't talk about
Did you
soccer.
hear about that,
Yeah.
Hall? You want to go
Football.
into it?
Yeah, you want to go?
Yeah, I
don't know
mean,
what he's talking
I haven't
about.
really like done any research on it. I know it's I guess like not semi-pro, but I guess semi-pro league. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna watch it because I'm a football fan.
Yeah, I'd probably
I
play
don't
in
know
it,
how much
honestly.
of it I'm gonna watch because
Yeah.
it's probably gonna be bad football, and I don't really want to waste my time watching bad football. Kind of like the XFL. There's maybe like one good team and a couple good players. All the rest of the stuff was horrible. But yeah, I'm gonna watch it to check it out, see who's in it, see what it's all about. But I don't know how long I'll stay on it.
So is it kind of going to be like a minor league thing?
Yeah,
almost?
essentially, yeah.
Oh, that's
Pretty much
cool. I like
XFL,
that.
but like
Right.
the spring
NFL
football league or
like
something.
If it's in
NFL.
spring, that's
owned, right?
good.
Yeah.
Can you
And
gamble on it?
I'm sure you can, dude.
Let's
You-
watch. Let's watch
Yeah,
some of
let's
the spring
watch it.
football. Let's
Yeah,
see what's
dude.
going
That's all
on,
we
man.
needed to hear.
See,
What am I gonna worry about? Like a over under of 1 in a soccer game? No, get the hell out of here.
Is this game going to end in a tie or not?
Yeah.
Burrow's next question is: do you guys think a
The
transfer
Steelers
style?
are lucky it didn't.
Yeah, that's a good point. His next question is: do you guys think a transfer style like we have in our soccer/football would work in the NFL? Andy, I'm gonna let you know right now. I am ignorant to what you just said. You might as
I
well
was just gonna
be
say,
speaking
I haven't
French.
I don't
Oh,
even know,
wait,
I don't even know what a
before-
transfer is. Like a bus transfer, I used to have those back in the day. It cost
Before-
$1.10.
Before getting
Yeah.
into that,
One
just
time
to
I
let you
transferred
know,
high schools.
there's some Steeler fans that were saying that that the Steelers that the Raiders and Chargers should have done it, so it wouldn't have been as unfair to Roethlisberger to get his ass whooped on national television.
That's so funny. Big Ben had no confidence in his team. He was the week before. He was like, yeah, "We're not."
Well,
as good as
Deontay
some
Johnson
of these
couldn't
teams."
catch the ball.
I know. Deontay Johnson's been struggling the last.
Dude,
half of
I
the
thought it
season.
was hilarious when Al Michaels, when they showed the video of him practicing pregame with the tennis balls, and then they showed the drop of him having on the slant. They're like, well, obviously it didn't work on that play. It's like, dude, just clubbing the guy.
How about you use real footballs to warm up? That's what they do here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's-
Now, our next question is from Jeff Miles, and he says, NFC East free agents. Who should we consider? He says Leighton Vander Esch from Dallas.
I got one.
What
I
do you
got
think,
one.
Reed?
Michael Gallup, wide receiver from Dallas. Of course, we need another wide receiver. You can never have too many weapons. He's proven himself. He's been a 1,000-yard receiver. He's big. He's athletic. He's somebody that I would definitely like to see over in Burgundy and Gold.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there because the list of wide receivers that are free agents this year are great. Chris
It's
Godwin,
insane.
Devontae Adams, Mike
Yeah.
Williams, Allen Robinson, Michael Gallup, Cordero Patterson as well is another one. I think Leighton Vander Esch is probably a really, really smart pick by you because he would be cheap based off his injury history. And so if you need a proven leader that can play two kind of positions, middle linebacker and Sam, I think it'd be perfect for you to bring in Leighton Vander Esch in here. But it kills me to say it, but I wouldn't expect him to test free agency. They'll most likely be bringing him back because they missed out on Jalen Smith and they lost out on what's-his-face, the other white guy. Sean Lee, he's gone. So they need to have their linebackers in their depth there. So I'm definitely going Leighton with you, brother. What do you think, Hall?
I wouldn't go Leighton just because his injury history, and we've already been down that road many a times. I'm kind of with Reed. I've been a big Michael Gallup guy, but the ACL injury kind of detoured me off of that. But I would go Mike Williams. I've always been a big Mike Williams guy ever
Yeah.
since Clemenson. So if
Cracky
we
knows
had
all
Mike
about
Williams,
that.
I'd be set.
I thought we were talking about just guys from the NFC
beat 'em.
East.
We are.
Okay, all right, good.
You're going to love to see
So
Mike
Hall's
Williams lead
answer
that
was
division.
wrong.
Wait,
Well, in
so
that
are these
case-
only
I'm just kidding, I'm kidding.
free agents you'll get in the NFC East, or is this any free agents you'll get across the league, or just who you're gonna?
He was
poach?
just asking in the NFC East if there's free
I will
agents
say
coming up.
a guy that's a free agent coming up for the Giants is
Slayton.
Peppers. Jabril
Jabril Peppers. Oh,
And
hey,
he's kind of that hybrid safety that we love so much down here in Washington. So I wouldn't be mad if they maybe try to pursue him.
And one guy I'll say we should never even think about getting is that guy Jaron Curse, the safety from the Cowboys. I think he's like 6'4", but he's the dude that posted that video and it was like you guys talked his head up and then got his head lopped off and talking about Terry McLaurin. The dude was jumping for a ball, dude. Calm down. What are you talking
He also
about
had
here?
no impact on that game
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Yeah, he really didn't at all. But guys, let's finish up this episode. Cracky, I want to go to you. What was the biggest surprise for Wildcard Weekend?
The biggest surprise for Wildcard Weekend, that the Raiders and Bengals was the closest game. Like that, no other play
Yes.
came down to the end, but it shouldn't have been. I mean, we came down. Every one of our games came down that way or to overtime.
right.
But I mean, everything was to be expected. I didn't think the Cardinals were gonna. I'm sorry, the 49ers were gonna run rampant, but For some reason, Kyle Shanahan's never comfortable with a lead.
Nope.
I would never ever like. He knows how to make sure like he stops running the ball. He trusts his quarterback way too much in these situations, and he's got stud running backs. And that was the most surprising is the fact that the 49ers didn't go all out in that ass because Deebo Samuel could have had another 100 yards easily.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anyone ever talk about Jimmy G ever again coming to Washington after that pick that he threw. I mean, literally, that is the worst. You couldn't even put it on him. You threw it over him, dude. That was absolutely insane to me. Probably
Can y'all just get Aaron Rodgers and then call it a day?
That's what I want, man. We got to speak into existence, Kevin. That's what we have to do here.
Hey, Dan Snyder is really easy. Give him your yacht. Just give him the yacht.
Adams
He'll
come
come
over.
over.
So like,
give him.
Would be sick.
Yeah.
That
just
would be insane.
More Deshaun here by getting a bunch of these massage places and be like, look, we got so many here.
Biggest surprise for me was the Patriots not putting up a fight against the Buffalo Bills. You know, I thought there'd be more balls there, and there wasn't. It was just was just one ball.
No balls smashing.
Yeah, there's no balls smashing on that game. I thought that was insane. I thought it was really crazy that Brian Dable and Josh Allen have Bill Belichick's defense figured out. I mean, they literally there was nothing they could do. They knew every outlet and everything. And then if you're New England, why are you not? It's 15 degrees below. Josh Allen is a huge runner. Don't you think that they're going to be running the ball heavily with him? Why would you not be game planning for that? Is beyond me.
You can't stack the box against those wide receivers. You can't do it. They have 4 starting wide receivers right now. If you go down the line,
Cole Beasley's one.
Cole
Beasley, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis,
and
Gabriel Davis is
McKenzie's a beast, and he comes out of the backfield as well too. They have a lot of weapons.
Dawson Knox,
yeah.
So you can't stack the box. I mean, when you have that many weapons, I mean, it's kind of like Tom Brady did in the Super Bowl. When you have 4 legitimate wide receivers, a legitimate tight end, and 2 good running backs, you I don't know how Dak Prescott's not any better.
I didn't know that Dawson Knox didn't catch a touchdown in college, by the way. I didn't know that. That's a crazy stat.
that was something on his scouting report. That was
he went to
is
Ole
this
Miss,
guy
right?
effective in the red zone? Yeah.
Can you just first of all, side note, Ole Miss had A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, and Dawson Knox on the same field and couldn't win jack.
Yeah, right.
That's how hard the SEC
So
is,
crazy.
man. It's a difficult division of football.
Right. For me, my biggest surprise of this weekend, I'm just gonna say it.
Because Michael Orr didn't go there.
I'm gonna say that the Bengals are the only team, in my opinion, right now that could knock off the Chiefs and honestly advance to the Super Bowl. I love the way Cincy's built. They have so much firepower. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. Their defense is playing out of their mind. Jesse Bates is fantastic. They've got 2 fantastic edge rushers that are both white guys. That is very rare.
Is Hendricks okay? Hendricks left the game early.
Yeah, but I think he's okay. I'm not 100% sure, but if he's healthy, man, watch out because the Bengals are getting hot, and Joey B is the coolest guy in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's cooler than Joe Burrow when he's smoking a cigar.
Yeah, and we interviewed Bengals captain in the preseason when we faced them, and I asked him like honestly, what's your prediction for this team? And he said winning a playoff game, and it blew my mind. I was like, really? You think?
I remember we were all like, really? Yeah, they're gonna make the playoffs over the Ravens, and,
right?
Yeah.
And he was
Browns.
He was darn right, dude. I mean, Trey Hendrickson was a great free agent pickup for them. To your credit, Reed. Hall, what's the biggest surprise of the weekend, brother?
Because of me.
I would say I'd probably say the Patriots getting just blown out like that. Like I had the Bills.
They had
winning
no
that game.
balls to bounce back.
Yeah,
no
no
balls
balls.
back. Yeah,
I had the Bills winning that game, but I didn't
up in
think
their
that
stomach.
Josh Allen would just go full Josh Allen on them and just 5 touchdowns, rushing the ball. Like who scored? Everybody. Singletary, like
Knox twice.
Knox twice. Sanders, like Sanders just came back. He's like, oh, you're back from injury. Hope you get a touchdown. So
I stopped watching that game. Come on, it's a late game. That game was over at halftime. Like
you expect the Bill Belichick defense to like show up and like have a solid game plan and not make mistakes and just like I said, play solid defense, and they were just getting waxed up and down the field.
Yeah.
So that was
they had a
surprising.
perfect game on offense. It's never happened in the Super Bowl area. They had
right.
Perfect game on offense.
Josh Allen.
They never punted.
Every drive ended in end points.
Yep.
The punter had the coldest ass in the building.
And they threw a touchdown
he
to a
still
lineman.
made millions. You know,
They threw a touchdown to a lineman just to put the cherry on top. Like, yep, this is the cherry on top of this ass whooping. Bam.
Another one. how about Tampa's defense showing up and showing out? They hadn't been doing that all season, and all of a sudden they destroyed the Eagles early on.
That is a great.
Who have the Eagles played in the past 5 weeks?
That is a great
I
point
know.
because the
Eagles
Eagles, we all knew with the Eagles that they are road graders, right? That they have big offensive line. They can run the football and shove it down your throat. With Tampa, they got up a lead fast, and so it kind of went against Philly, where they now have to pass the football. And Jalen Hurts did not look comfortable in that setting at all. And a lot of credit to Tampa because they took them completely out of their game plan. And Nick Sirianni, it was funny because he showed videos to his team like of Rocky, which is just so cringe, and then showed him like a Kobe video. And they made a comment during the broadcast like, "Oh, maybe you should show another video at halftime."
I always say the funniest thing is Bill Burr making fun of Philadelphia and being like, "Your guys' one movie icon, your biggest icon is a fictional character. Your biggest sports talking about Rocky. Your biggest sports hero is not even real."
Not even he's not, dude. It's so funny. That's such a great bit.
Stallone's family's from the DMV. What if they named them the Washington Rambos?
Yeah, and just gave them all a bunch of AKs
Fucking-
and stuff.
Yeah.
When you buy season tickets, you get an AK
The
and a
Rambos.
drum mag.
Dude, everybody shows up like, "Ugh, let's do it."
We all show up in a black tank top with fatigued
Adrian.
pants.
Yeah, hey, that's another way to stick it to Philly, taking Rocky from him.
I go Kyle, man. He's mad. That's how he talks.
This dude that used to work at me and Kyle's job.
How do you get
Mark G.
CTE from acting?
Dude, one of them cows hit him back.
Oh, they had to have. I guarantee he really got punished by like the dude who played
my
that big
God.
Russian. He takes his head off. He's #1 in all of world. I forget his name, but he knocked him out. And you,
Dude,
Oh,
the computer broke measuring his pounds per like square inch of that. Done. I'm never fighting that guy.
No,
Screw
never.
that.
God no.
That's
All right,
unless
guys.
I'm Ovechkin, then I'm sticking it to him. Like, I'm good.
It's a good
Hey,
point.
Tom Wilson's got him.
Before you sign off, Kyle, I gotta ask Mike because I know he does it. How'd your parlays work out this weekend? Did you do some same games?
Horrible.
Horrible. Me too, dude. I couldn't hit shit. But dude, tonight is gonna be awesome. We got some good ones tonight. You got Kyler Murray's over under is only 40.5. Money. He's definitely gonna get over 40.5. Wesley is only at 20 yards. He's been getting mad catches over the past couple weeks, and with Moore being out. And then Stafford under 1.5 yards running with his big toe being broken.
Breaking news. The Raiders GM Mike Mayock was informed that he won't be retained.
Shocker. That's what happens
yeah.
when you
Dude,
sign in.
I'm telling you right now.
Perfect
network.
timing. It's
I
perfect
told you.
timing. All right, back on the season.
My key to Derek Carr getting out of there was they're gonna blow out the GM, blow out the coach, bring in a guy like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. Derek Carr shakes loose and then he comes over here.
Dude.
Holstradamus.
Look at that hat.
Let's
Holstradamus.
go.
Holstradamus. Oh my goodness.
That hat.
Kevin, thank you so much for joining
Balstradamus
us.
for
Thank you to
predicting that.
everyone for tuning into this episode when we recap the Wild Card weekend. It has been a pleasure. You guys are awesome. We'll see you again on Thursday this week. On Friday, I will be away, so we're going to be recording on Thursday this week. Make sure you check that out. All right, everybody. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
And I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by getting into an accident without insurance. So that didn't happen. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Hey, thank you,
Hey.
Kevin, for coming on, brother.
It's called a hit and run. Just keep it
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, everybody. We'll see you then. Washington football.
Hey, to the 11th overall pick. Good job, guys.
Peace.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you get notified when anything new is uploaded to the channel. Also, we just launched theburgundyzone.com. You can go there and find all of our latest news, articles, and the latest episodes that are uploaded. Again, we also have the Discord chat server, where all of our VIP folks are in, like Andy Burrows, Scott Hartley, Sergio Martin is in there as well. Don't miss out on the Discord chat server. Go and check that out. Until next time, everybody, Washington football. Woo!